3, 2.
Lift off? Sure.
Roll the intro. There we go. That's some engineering right there.
There we go. All right.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 13th installment of Bitcade. My name is Ryan E. Moore, as you probably already know, but this person right here, David.
It's my name in Spanish.
Is it?
David,
I like
yeah.
every time oh yeah, maybe David is.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think of David, I think of like a Middle Eastern, like
Okay.
man.
No, I had a teacher in second grade that would only call me David. She wasn't Spanish or Hispanic or in any way.
Okay.
She
Just always
would-
referred to you as that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It was
great.
just I was this tall little skinny bean, but I was David. Like, all right, well, whatever.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode of 2018 officially, like recording-wise. Yeah, recording-wise is the first episode in the year of 2018. It is January 2018 as the current recording time, but it'll probably leak out to March or not that far, February. But this is the first time we also don't have our very special friend Quinn, which is a very sad day, but also a happy day, We're going to try some stuff out a little bit differently. Kind of the same format, just going to slowly tweak some stuff, and then eventually we'll figure out what we're going to kind of do with Bitcade for the time being.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try some new things and just kind of see how the flow changes with it being only two of us.
Yes.
But we're going to try, I think this episode, we're kind of sticking to the same formula.
Yes.
So,
the first topic of today is tabletop games. We don't talk about tabletop games as much as there's a whole library of them always in the behind us.
Yeah, for as many as I have, my girlfriend and I have, and for as how it's always in the backdrop, we've never really talked about it. So we thought, why not? Today is the day.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of games that I didn't even write down, but I'm really excited to talk about some games. So I guess what this topic, because I guess this is my topic, but was we're gonna tell you some games that we love playing, and then maybe a little bit of some stories on why we really like those games. Yeah. I guess I'll start, and I'm gonna start with number one, not in any order of greatest to least greatest, but the Exploding Kittens is a game that I've kind of fallen in love with. Of just like I like the Russian roulette style of it, and how it's a little bit easy to learn, and it's also a little bit hard to master. And then and it's a great like we've taken it to PAX. We took it to PAX this last year, and what was even cooler is that Exploding Kittens had their own booth there. That's, if you go back and look at the PAX video, that's the one that gives Ashton some corn. Like because I just love the humor that is in Exploding Kittens and the Cards Against Humanity kind of humor thing. And I don't know, it's just really, it's like, cute art style, a little fat kitten. I've not played the Not Safe for Work one. I know a lot of people like prefer that one just because it's whatever.
Just more ridiculous.
But I bought the regular one because of the fact that I want to play it with everyone else, kind of thing. And I did get the little exclusive Target like expansion cards that you had to find in this thing, in the shipper thing. But yeah, it's a fun game. Like Jameson and I have played it with our cousin, and then we taught Ashton how to play it, and it's just fun. It's a fun game. You can just pull out in the hotel room, play it. Doesn't last long. Boom, done. It's a great game.
Yeah, it's a good. My girlfriend and I we classify those because we're the big. I think out of our group, in Primal Target, I guess myself we're the big hobby board gamers. As you have noticed, we've got I know it doesn't look like it, but we've got about. I think we have surpassed 90 board games in our collection. I know it doesn't look like it here, but we've got two. I can't pull it out.
Yeah.
We've got two of these like crates that are full of our small board games. I think I can probably pull out one of those. Like we call small board games. We call like these.
Boss Monster.
Small little games like this. Once. And there's like 20 easily in just each one of these. So there's about 40 games just within these two, as Brian can see, these two little crates right here.
They're about like that deep.
Yeah.
Like
they're like the
Walmart
little shelving
Shopko
units that you can
shelving
fit in
things,
these little 3x3x3 cubes, and there's about 20 games in each of those, and so yeah, we call those good on the go games, just good on good camping games, good like we got 15 minutes to kill. There's a lot of little games like that we like to play. One of the ones that we it's not one of the games that I picked, but like another game, if you like the more mature games like the Not Safe for Work Exploding Kittens or Cards Against Humanity. My personal favorite for that style of game is Joking Hazard.
Oh yeah, with Cyanide and Happiness. You actually bought the Cyanide and Happiness thing?
No, we don't actually own that particular one, but we don't own. I know it's going to sound weird, but we don't own any of those games. We don't.
The apples to apples type of style.
No, we don't. We don't own. Well, we do have a game like that called Dixit. It's that same sort of style, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
But we don't own like Exploding Kittens. We don't own Cards Against Humanity because everybody has those, And so when people come over to play with us and they request those games, we're like, out of luck.
Yeah.
We've got all of these other ones to pick from, So. But that's just just us. But yeah, no, those are fun little games. We like to, like I said, Joking Hazard. We like to play Hanabi is one that we like to play. Dungeon Roll is another little game like that. So
yeah, because my knowledge of tabletop games are a little above average, but like.
You more than just Monopoly.
Yeah. I know more of
the family classics.
Yeah, the family classic games. But yeah, I like those like grab and go kind of games and just enjoy. It's not really the game that's fun. It's the people that you're playing it with that makes it fun. That's kind of like how like Cards Against Humanity is, and Apples to Apples is just. I think Apples to Apples is a terrible game because. Everyone has like 4 or 5 different ways of playing that game, so it's kind of like Monopoly. It's lost its whole like reasoning of being played now. It's not even being played for the reasons that it needs to be played anymore. Because there's you can talk about like you can sell your card, and then there's you got to keep it secret and let the other person decide. Like you can't sell your card or blah blah blah. And I'm like. No, I think you should be able to. I'm one of those people that thinks like you should be able to sell your card because like it draws more of a debate of like why. Otherwise, it's just someone that's going this one, and then. But I guess there is more of a secretive thing to that. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can go off about how I despise Monopoly in particular, but I'll save that for another time. I guess it's yeah. But that was your first game.
Yeah, Exploding Kittens.
Yeah. Do you want me to? All right. So I'm gonna jump over to one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So my first one is gonna be one I'm sure I might have mentioned to you. I'm gonna assume our audience will have no idea what I'm talking about. I've picked games that I like that have a very video game feel to them. Okay. And for the first one that I picked is easily my favorite dungeon crawler. Now, dungeon crawler is a style of game where basically there is a dungeon presented to you. You are the heroes, and you are progressing through it, defeating enemies and bosses and that kind of style. That's usually what a dungeon crawler is. Like Dungeon Quest that you played with us once, that's kind of a dungeon crawler where you're kind of exploring it on your own. It's not a team one, but you're doing it on your own. But the one that I'm going to pick for this particular topic is called Super Dungeon Explorer. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I'm assuming you can. This is the base. This is the expansion base game. These here are some of the expansions, and then stacked on underneath these, which I don't think you can see, is these tubs. Yes, you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
These are the miniatures. There are about 200 and something miniatures in here for this particular game.
Holy crap.
And this is nothing but dungeon tiles, because that's all that fits in there. And then these are full of the miniatures that we have that we don't have boxes for.
Wow.
It is my favorite dungeon crawler because it is literally it is your own like World of Warcraft raid in a box.
Wow.
Like you can set up this elaborate dungeon. You can tell a story throughout your dungeon, and you set up the enemies, the bosses. You pick your characters.
Really like this little platypus looking guy right here.
Yeah, the little minions. And the nice thing about it is this game is made to emulate a video game. That's part of the game's
Charm.
Charm is part of its feel. It's part of the aesthetic of the game. Like it is the your enemies aren't called the enemies. They're called the minions. They're called minions, but the way you control, because there's the player's turn and then there's the enemy's turn. Well, they're not called the enemy's turn. It's called the console's turn, and it's referring to the game console you're playing.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
And let's see if I can pull out like a shit. I wish I could.
What we could do is you can talk about the rest of this.
Yeah.
And then when I'm talking about my next one,
Yeah.
you can try to dig that out. Yeah.
Because like I wish I could show you because it would just explain it so much more. But the game is pulls a lot from video game tropes into it, and especially there's tons of Easter eggs to characters from anime, video games.
But they're tongue in cheek. They're not like exactly
No,
those characters.
no,
They're
no. Like
obviously they are, but they're not those.
Yeah, like one of the bosses that you can get that's a add-on boss that you can buy by itself is an evil Totoro. So one of the bosses is an evil Totoro. It looks like Totoro, but he's got a big old horn. He's got a big old mouth with teeth, and it's your job to
very
beat
Persona looking Totoro kind of thing.
Yeah, and then there's another hero that is basically an Easter egg to Ezra Scarlet from Fairy Tail. There's one that's Princess Mononoke.
Huh.
And then we've also backed the Kickstarter for this, which really, because this isn't the base game. This is an expansion that can be played as the base game. We don't own the base game because it's hard to get your hands on it, but they did a Kickstarter where they're doing the second edition of the release game, and a lot of like the stretch goals that you get are more like miniatures, and there's one called Hey Listen, which is an Easter egg, which is a little miniature you can get that's, obviously Navi from the Legend of Zelda series. And so there's a lot of the little video game tie-ins to it, and especially in the way it plays just like a turn-based strategy video game. You have your group of heroes, it's your turn, and then if you've ever played like a Fire Emblem game, that's it. It's a physical.
It's just that.
It's a physical version of the Fire Emblem mechanics, but you build like your own like WoW dungeon, and the tiles are like this big. Like you can build a dungeon if you want that can take up this whole table. It'll take you all day to play, but like you can go as big as you want. You can go as small as you want. You can go as big as you want, and it's great. It's got all of these fantastic characters and heroes you can play from, or you can play there's any type of like. Trope archetype video game character, it's in there. If you want to be like your big beefy tank that can just absorb all the damage, he's in there. If you want to be your sneaky little assassin, if you want to play like your Ezio from Assassin's Creed, they're in there. You want to be a ninja, it's in there.
That's crazy.
If you want to be like shoot bows and pretend you're Legolas, it's in there.
Yeah, there's that's cool that it kind of reminds me of Boss Monster, of how they can capture this video game-esque style that you didn't even know that could ever be adapted to a board game, but it's like they made it work.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a couple mechanics in it that we forget about, because after you clear tiles, the enemies are supposed to get harder. But sometimes we forget to implement that just because it's on this little card that's easy to forget about. But like you kill enemies, you get loot. It's Diablo style, where every time you kill an enemy, you pull from the loot card. Up to 3, you can get up to 3 loots per turn. And it's all set, gear, sword, shield, and it's all set to where you can equip your characters from head to toe, and you level. And in the new system, they're adding this way so you can level up your characters now. That's coming out with the Kickstarter, which I'm excited for, because you can basically play this game almost as if you're playing like a D&D campaign.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm excited for it.
I like to hear like the Kickstarter games get some hype, because it's just. It's a hard platform, and let alone probably trying to make those games is really hard, especially miniature games.
This expansion was kickstarted.
Yeah.
And then these are actually tie-ins to other games that they make. These are characters from a different game that they made a Super Dungeon version of that you can play in Super Dungeon. And then this is a PvP mode that they added in, so you can play PvP now in Super Dungeon. It comes with its own board, its own mechanics, its own loot. That's what this particular expansion was.
Cool.
But yeah, I love, like, right here. Even this expansion right here came with that's.
I like that little turtle guy.
Yeah, guess who that's supposed to be?
I'm assuming. Oh God. I want to say Peach.
It's Peach.
Okay, all right.
Her name, I don't remember her name exactly, but it's like Princess something.
Like Pear.
Yeah, something like that. And then another mini that came in this one is literally Link from Zelda.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. So here's the thing for those people that are watching at home. Clearly, David has a passion for a lot of these games.
I love board games.
If it does seem like I cut him off on some of these,
just because I'm rambling,
I'm gonna have to, just because I know how passionate you are about these. When I name them off, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
When I name my games off, mine just have like a quick little snippet story of why I like it and of the experiences. You just know all the little mechanics of the games, and that's what you like this game.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing about this particular game.
Yeah.
It is I'm gonna admit this. It's a money pit. Okay?
It seems like it if there's that many miniatures in it.
This base expansion is $100 just for this by itself.
Yeah.
These are ranged between 50 and 60. Single characters are $15, and then the expansions that have that add new bosses and more miniatures to it range between 30 and 40 for like the boxes that are like this big. So if you do, that's my one thing to be cautious of, is because this game is fantastic. For $100, you're getting a lot. For $100 right here, you're getting a fantastic game, but it's so good that it's going to hook you. So just be ready
to dump more money into it.
Yeah, because even though this isn't the most expensive base game that we've bought, we have put the most money into it, especially considering the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So, but it's probably the game that my girlfriend and I play the most. It does take a few hours to play. It takes about an hour to set up. It takes a few hours to play. But like I said, if you got the time and you love turn-based RPGs, especially like the Fire Emblem series, and you want to play something physical, that's it, 100%.
Yeah. So mine are not as elaborate as those,
that's okay.
but
that's okay.
But my next one is, and I'll segue into another game that I actually like a lot more than this one. But it's just funny because I saw this game at Target for it's like $15, and it's the Minecraft tabletop game. Now, bear with me here. Hold on. Don't turn off your TVs yet. It is not that bad. It is a deck builder game. And I was like, this is ingenious. This is how you teach kids how to play deck builder. It is so simple. It's, building an axe, and an axe can attack players and earn you more points, or pickaxes let you draw 2 more cards. Like, each thing you build has a certain perk to what you're building.
Nice.
And so there's shovel, a pickaxe, a hoe, and a sword. And then there's all variants of them. There's the diamond versions.
Right, the different materials.
Yeah, and then you can use those materials and then to do different stuff. And then also with the creeper is in the game, and when that happens, that means the whole board gets cleared. Or no, you attack somebody. The creeper attacks you, and you have to defend it. So you have to have a card. Whether it's a sword, you can defend it and deflect it off. If it's a TNT, it blows off all of the cards that are on top, and then you have to flop them all off, which is really cool. There's just like these little things that make the game of Minecraft into a card game, and I never thought it would actually happen that way.
That's pretty cool.
But I love deck builder games. Those are the first deck builder game I played was the Penny Arcade Gamers vs. Evil. It's still probably my favorite deck builder game. It's just because of the Penny Arcade guys were a part of it. But and all the little jokes they have, there's the scrotum card, and then there's the FF Prime was the PAX exclusive card, and and the Kickstarter card, which I have that. I don't have the game though. I have the because I competed at PAX to play that game, but it's yeah, the Penny Arcade game got me into deck builders. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's this strategy of, okay, what do I need to do? And then I could have like a totally different strategy in trying to play and than you. Like, I could be trying to get all the paper tubes to attack a whole bunch of times, and you could be trying to get all the stars, but you'd have a weak defense. But I would have less stars, and I'd be trying to attack a lot. But so it's those kind of things that make it fun. And then obviously from that, I actually did buy a deck builder game, and it's going to be the one that everyone knows if you love deck builders or love tabletop games is Dominion. Dominion is so great. It is where the grandfather of all like deck builders have started. Like you see. When you play all these other deck builders and then you go back to Dominion, you're like, okay, so this is just like in Dominion. Like you'll play all the other deck builders and go, oh, just like in Dominion. And there's like all these different things. And Dominion has so many expansions. Like there's
been around for a while.
Yeah, I mean it is. Yeah, I mean I think it is the first deck builder, right? Like everyone considers it.
I don't think so. I think it's considered just to be one of the best.
Okay, all right.
One of the best.
If not, it's one of the earliest. But yeah, it's great, and it has all these different expansions and that get more convoluted and things like that. But yeah, I think like my favorite type of games are the deck builder games, and something like the Minecraft one, which is another one of those grab and go games. It's literally a box that's just like that. It's just like this big, and throw it in a backpack, take it off the packs, and it's great. So and I played that with Jameson and my cousin, and it was fun. And she didn't even know what she knows what Minecraft is, obviously, but she didn't know a lot about that stuff. So.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I'd never really, I guess, like batted an eye at the Minecraft game because normally when
when you see Minecraft,
I know I'm a board game snob, and I see a lot of the games at work. And I call them, gimmick games. They're usually just like rushed to get on some sort of a trend, like "What do you meme?" or like the cats
Game of Phones.
Yeah, or have you seen that flip bottle game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what Game of Phones might be something different than just a meme thing, but yeah, I know what the.
But no, I call it that's what I call those. So like I see those sitting there, and I'm just like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I took a chance on the only reason why I bought the Minecraft one was because it was only $15, or maybe it was even cheaper than that, and the fact that we were going to PAX. Yeah. So I wanted to get a game that I could just shove in a backpack, and like if we were in line, pull that thing out, and boom, there we go. A little bit more. It's a little bit longer than like Exploding Kittens could get. Just because there's
deck builders can be drawn out. It all depends on what people are doing on their turn.
But I will say it's not. So it is a deck builder in the broad term of it,
like a deck builder light.
Yeah, but it definitely teaches you the basics of like how deck builders work and the resource management of when. Okay, I need this stuff to make this thing so I can do an action. Or I need this thing to defend myself. I haven't played it in a while, but yeah, it's a very strategic kind of game too. So it's interesting. It's like a combination of a lot of different things, but it definitely does bring a little Minecraft-y type thing to a tabletop, which is crazy. So
might I make a suggestion for you?
Go ahead.
If you do like deck builders, I think you should check out either Star Realms or Hero Realms. They're basically they're deck builders, but they're basically the same game, just different settings. Star Realms takes place.
That's the little box ones, right? Yeah, I've seen them at the shop.
Yeah, Star Realms, takes place in space. Hero Realms is more fantasy, like high fantasy. I think actually
there's like little. There's actually
it's actually right here.
Oh, there's actually I've seen expansions of the expansion cards. These things. Yeah. Oh, ooh, fancy! You got the little cards going on them.
So this is all credit to my girlfriend. My girlfriend she organizing is like one of her favorite things to do. So she's like, this is not what the game came in.
No.
Okay, I'm just showing this to you. So she did this herself, and then she organizes it like this. You see these little tabs? We've got base game. The ruin. This is an expansion, and then you've got the different heroes. Like, because when you pick a hero, and your hero has certain abilities, and that goes into your base deck, and then these are like cards that you pull from. But yeah, no, this is all credit to her. She's the one that does this like organization. But this, if you like games like Dominion, you want to try something different. Try a Hero Realms or Star Realms. It ultimately is, do you want sci-fi or do you want like high fantasy?
Yeah. I was
hear,
suggested that game too, and
yeah.
I might go the sci-fi one.
Yeah, I was gonna say we like high fantasy more
Yeah,
or
yeah.
sci-fi in our home, but I know a lot of people who the Star Realms is the first. This one came out after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Like they have the expansions for them are character packs.
Yeah. That's like the way you saw there was like the thief and,
Yeah,
and all
and
that.
they're actually in little like upper deck kind of rip apart, open them up.
Yeah, they're not like blind bags or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're all the same set of cards, which is nice. You know what you're getting. But
yeah. So I guess deck builders were my second one.
Yeah. My second one is a game that again you've probably not heard. Ryan, I'm sure hasn't heard of. Most of you probably haven't heard of. It's a few years old. I'd say it's maybe about 6 or so years old. It's a French game.
Oh, oui, oui.
Well, it's a Euro game.
French Canadian.
No. It's a Euro game. Like there's this huge like debate in the gaming community, Euro games versus like North American games, because there's a different style. European games,
so kind of like the Japanese RPG versus the Western RPG.
Right? Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. There's that kind of same debate, and when it comes to North American games and European games, European games tend to have more mechanics. They tend to be more difficult. North American games tend to be more, I don't want to say user friendly, but they have a more like broader appeal, and that's just very, I don't want to spark any debates like in the comments or anything, but that's just a very base summary of the differences. But my second one is a Euro game, and it's called Claustrophobia. And if you like games like, now it's not like a loot game, but if you like game like style, like art style visually, games like Diablo or like darker fantasy, this is
Dark Souls kind of
type
of thing.
This is the one for you. It is 2-player, and you're playing
No more, no less.
No, 2-player only.
Wow. Okay.
You can't play by yourself. You can't play with more than 2. There are ways, if you have a particular expansion, you can tweak the rules to play with 3 people. But it is strictly meant to be a 2-player game. It's you versus them, and the whole lore and concept of this game is it takes place in the future in the town of New Jerusalem. Okay.
So we're in the Middle East.
We're in the Middle East in the future. It's like post-apocalyptic, and the way that the game works is one person is playing a priest. Okay. He's playing a priest with condemned criminals. Okay. And the other person is playing the hordes of evil of the underworld. Okay.
Wow, this is quite a plot.
And so there is a story that there's a story mode you can go through, or you can go through and play the chapters as like individual like little scenarios that you can do. But the main objective is the priest is leading these condemned criminals. They're the only people that he's given to help fight against the hordes of evil underneath New Jerusalem, because you're in like tunnels and things like that.
Wow. So like catacombs type of
it's like catacombs. The world is tile based, so it has that sort of dungeon crawler mechanic, but instead of like Super Dungeon where you lay it all out, it is randomly generated, where when you go to the next tile, you pull from the top, and whatever it is whatever it is. So like I played it once with Rebecca, and she did not have a good time because the tile draws were all in my favor. I was playing as the demons.
Yeah.
All in my favor, not good for her, and she did not have a good time. But it's very it has these one thing that I like about it is it has these elements of I say controlled random factors, because it does involve rolling dice. But the thing is like your character's stats, there's 6 different stats that your character can have. Okay, there's more offensive, defensive, like number wise, and how fast you can move and things like that. And the dice control which of those stats you get access to. So like if I'm on the priest side, I've got my priest and I've got like 2 convicts with me. and I can roll I think like 3 or 4 dice, and then let's say I have the priest and like I really like his stats that are set for number 2. Well, if I roll the number 2, I can put that 2 on his plate on his character sheet, and then he has those stats. And then the same thing with the convicts. If I like this convicts, like if I've got a big like tank convict and I really need him to be tanky on this turn because the monsters are going to throw this big old high damage enemy at me on this round, like I can see it coming up, I'll have him go like full tank stats, and for like if I have like the thief character, I'll have him go like full damage if I roll those particular dice. So like you do have to roll dice, and they do control your stats, but you get to choose like where they go because they got like the 6 slots for it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a magic scenario where you go, if someone's attacking you, you're like, okay, these guys, you're attacking these guys.
But it all depends on the position, because like you can only have a certain amount of minis on a tile. And if it exceeds, if the number of minis on a tile has met that limit, then like say I have like my priest and my tank guy on there, and then he's got like a couple minions, I can't move my thief over to help aid.
So you have to plan out. Your
Yes, like I said, it there's a lot of strategy involved, but it's not like overly complicated. It's not something where like you're just going to be like dreading over what do I do next. But
unless someone's drawing tiles that are.
Yeah, unless you're drawing like, well, like, because there are tiles that like bottleneck, and on the bottleneck tiles you can only have 1 mini pass through it at a time. And so like I was able to just like stack my horde on the other end of that and just be like, all right, come at me one at a time.
Yeah, just obliterate it.
Yeah. And so but yeah, it really is, if you're wanting like a nice two-player game where it's you versus them, with a lot of just the aesthetics to it. The minis look good. They come painted.
Oh.
A lot of minis in games, if you don't know, come unpainted.
Yeah, they're like a little gray or purple or
Yeah, and I will say the paint jobs aren't on as par as, say, if I were to paint it myself. But again, that's another like 6 hours I don't have to spend painting a mini.
Yeah, I mean the game sounds great. Like it has these elements to it that make it so unique.
Yeah,
so.
and then I didn't really, and then on the boss side, on the minion side, you get each stage has like a boss, and they have special moves and abilities. But as the demon, or whoever you're playing, when you roll your dice affect what your minis can do and what minis you can spawn. And how many of those minis you can spawn. Like you have like they're called troglodytes. They're basically like the little throwaway guys. Like you can spawn like a bunch of those in one turn and just throw them at them.
So essentially, you're the main protagonist in the game, and the priest is the antagonist of the whole entire. Or no, sorry, he's the protagonist.
Yes.
You're the antagonist of the whole game.
Yep.
So like you're the last boss is essentially, or you're controlling all your minions, making sure everything's going, and then the other person's. Oh,
and then there's expansions that add more. I've got one of the expansions. There's an expansion that adds more hero players and another type of minion, and then there's one that adds a third. A third like faction, and that's the one. I don't have that one, but that's one if you have, you can tweak the rules to play it with 3 people. But like I said, I don't have that particular one. You're playing as like this big like lizard dude with like
Killer Croc looking style.
Yeah, like Killer Croc looking, but you got like blades on your arms, and
cool.
and they come with their own scenarios, and it really is a lot of fun. Like one of my favorite scenarios is it will take up like this whole table of tiles, and one is like the good guys are split up, and I'm on this end, but they have to go through and like they both have to turn on these flip these switches to open this door so they can get back together and come see me while I'm trying to stop them in the process. Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. The one negative that I have with it is when you are playing the scenarios where you're flipping tiles, you can get screwed. One person can get screwed, either on the menu
if it wasn't shuffled correctly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not some. I wouldn't say that. It's all that random factor of the tiles that pop up. It can screw the priest and his side, or it can screw the demons. It goes both ways. So that's the only negative. Sometimes that will happen every now and then. But claustrophobia is one of my favorites.
Sounds good. Yeah, my third one. Another. Oh, there it is.
That's it right there.
Another one that I really like was kind of something. So there's this game, and I cannot remember with the life of me what it was called. But when I went to the shop and I asked someone about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't have that game, but we have something sort of like it." So there's this old game where you are these police officers in London, trying to stop this guy, Professor X. And so you, the detectives in London, are trying to find these Mr. X, and he reveals himself every so often, and blah blah blah. It might sound familiar. I have no idea what the original game is called, but there's another game called Letters from Whitechapel,
Yeah.
and it takes place with the scenario of Jack the Ripper as the main bad guy in this whole scenario. It does get really, really dark, but there's but there is a PG version that you can play, which is just the base scenario game of find him. Here's what Jack is doing the whole time, and that's what you're trying to do. But there is a darker version that is in the game because I have the second edition. I don't know what happened with the first edition, but I have the second print of it, and it's like there's actual letters, and you read them as you continue on, which makes it a little bit more morbid and dark and sinister. But in the traditional way of how I play it with my family, that at a family dinner or a family outing or whatever, it's just find Jack. Here's what play by the other rules, but I don't go too far into it. So I may censor it a little bit, maybe. Or I'm just, I don't know, with the based rules.
You're making it more family
friendly. Yeah. The rules do
it.
say, like, you can play this way, but then there's this other way. But anyway, but it's kind of cool. So, essentially, you have 4 people. Yeah, I think it's 4 people.
4.
And then you have someone playing as Jack. And so what Jack is doing is he has a thing like this. It comes in this little, like, border wall, like how you did when you were taking tests in school. It's like this little thing. And then you write down a location where you want your home base to be, and then in the beginning, this is all in the beginning game. Jack writes his home base and blah blah blah. Then the police officers get to write where they're gonna all spawn at, or they get these little tokens and they flip them up, and it's just all black. But on the other side, there's little dots that show where they're actually gonna be, and there's 2 decoys that the police officers get to put so that Jack doesn't know where he's gonna spawn. So as soon as all the police officers get to put all their stuff out, then Jack gets to pick all of which women he wants to take. There are spawn locations for the women. I know this sounds really weird. And then you put these. Jack has these white tokens on the bottom. Have a red dot if he wants to kill them. If not, then it's just white. So he puts them all out there. So he has decoys as well as the one that he's going to kill through the whole thing. So the police officers have to decide where he's going to murder. Now, where Jack is going to kill, that's where he's going to spawn. That's where he starts. And then his goal, like let's say he's on the top of the map at number, I don't even know what number's up there. But for example, like number 14. And his home is number 25 and it's down at the bottom. He has to maneuver through that whole entire thing. But the problem is he doesn't know where the police officers are yet. So Jack's location's always secret, but the police officers, as soon as the kill is revealed, they reveal themselves on where they're located. So if somebody put their police token right next to the women that just got killed, they have a really good chance of finding Jack right away. But, and also the chance, they could also be distracted. And what I love about that game is sometimes you have a really good Jack, you can. How I like to do it is I like to pit people together. I like to, well, I don't know. And then they start arguing. Yeah. The best part about being Jack is to have the cops start arguing with each other because you're on the other side going, I am nowhere near there. Yeah. And then I won this one time that was with my family. It was so close. I was right here, and then there was another person right here with like 2 spaces in front of me. But then there's an alleyway that they went 1, and they had a 3. And so they could have got me, but they went 1, 2, 3, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because if the police officer runs into Jack, you have to say like that you did and you got caught and blah blah blah. Or you have to specify, like the police officer has to say, is Jack on number 14, but you have to be on number 14 to say that.
Yeah.
You can't just go, is Jack on number 25 and you're all the way over at 10.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure, you're calling out the ones that you're on.
Right. Just to help clarify, the board is basically a map of London.
Yeah,
with all of
downtown,
these,
old
with all these markers on
Western
it with
London,
locations on it. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
So like the whole map is set with all these numbers and lines. It's kind of looks like Ticket to Ride's map, but it has a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Where and Jack has these places that he can move, and the police have positions that they can move, but Jack also has these little tokens that he can like sneak through
the alleyways.
Yeah, slip through the alleys or carriages.
You can,
I've screwed some people over on carriages, and
Yeah.
they don't like it because sometimes I like to throw people off too. I'll just do like an alleyway token, and I'm nowhere near him, but it makes them think like, oh, he's right here, he's got to be right over here, but I'm like way over here. But yeah, Letters from Whitechapel is a good game. I think I may modify it a little bit, but if you can find the other game, it's a little bit more family friendly. Obviously, you're looking for Mr. X and your police officers, and it's just looking like that old version of that game, or I don't know if it's the same company, but the old style game that is like way old, and it's a lot easier like to understand. Same concept though. I don't know if any other games are like that, but I love that style of game too.
No, I have this one right here.
Which one is that?
Fury of Dracula.
Oh,
It's the same style of game, except instead of playing as Jack the Ripper, you're playing as Dracula.
you can hold it like
right here.
boom.
But as you can see, you're tracking Dracula, or who would be Jack the Ripper, all throughout Europe.
I would play that game.
This, I think, if you like Letters of Whitechapel, I think you'd like this one.
Okay, cool.
Basically, yeah, everybody else is basically like some sort of vampire hunter, and it's the same sort of concept. It's just different theme.
Yeah.
So
I hate to kind of pull this one, but you're gonna have to make this one like a 10-minute one. So.
That's fine, because my last one I have yet to play.
Okay.
I own it, and I'm really excited to play it, but I haven't played it, and it's called Codex, and it's this one right there. Okay. I've got stuff on it, so I'm not going to try and take it off, but it's this game right here. And the reason why I am excited about it.
Hard time strategy.
Yes, it is a real-time strategy game. Think like original Warcraft, StarCraft, but in a card game form. And that's all I really know about it. You've got, these are the two factions. There are expansions that you can get.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to play it. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, so I don't really know too much about the mechanics, but I'm told if you want like a real-time strategy game, like, again, old Warcraft, StarCraft, if you want like the old Command and Conquerors in a card game, that's it.
Sweet.
Like I said, you need to keep that one short.
There we go. All right.
I'm excited to play it. And again, like I said, I picked games that I feel a video game audience, if they wanted to step over and try. If you like real-time strategy games, from what I've heard, again, no personal experience, that's the one to get.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you leave in the comment section below what your favorite tabletop games are, and that's where we're going to end it for the first topic. So now we're going into topic number 2.